All right, welcome back. Well, we've got Monday Ubani, who is a former second vice president of Nigerian Bar Association, also former chair of MBA. That's the Lagos chapter.
No,
Ikeja chapter. And then, basically, he's a legal practitioner. Thank you for coming on this morning. But in context of first hitting the ground running, but primarily peace and harmony in the country to ensure that things go well. But we listened to the speech of the president, his acceptance speech. We've also listened to that of the PDP candidate who said, look, remain calm, all his supporters. How do we escalate that such that their supporters in states, primarily, those who may have won or lost the National Assembly elections, how do we ensure that they key into this?
Yeah, I think if the two key actors, the president himself and then the opposition leader, and that is Mr. Alhaji Atiku, have appealed to his followers to maintain peace. And that to me is critical. The president himself in his acceptance speech also extended this hand of fellowship, to his opponents, and let's move Nigeria forward. To me, that is very important. Now, we have to really accentuate this statement of these leaders by serious advocacy. Some of us are here now, I'm here. And I really want to appreciate Nigerians for turning out en masse to exercise their franchise last Saturday. Now that the election has been lost and won, those who want to go to court should go to court. Then the person who has won should now continue to ensure that Nigeria moves in accordance with his promises to Nigeria. So we must seriously advocate for peace.
There was something that while the verdict was on, some suggested that, look, this this system that we have, which comes across as winner takes all, some see that appears to be the main reason, or at least largely, while there's so much agitation to, win whichever position you vie for, that if, for instance, I mean, in the president's speech, when he did say he was going to reach out,
yes,
that if governments time and again say, okay, well, we will reach out to those who also vied with us, such that they don't feel left out. Many think that if they demonstrate all of those, that will go a long way in reducing the skirmish, the fight, the zest with which they go for some of those, and reduce violence to a large extent.
Chamberlain, you're absolutely correct. I've heard leaders, after they have actually won, they extend this hand of friendship, to others. But when it comes to issue of appointment, they don't, actually remember them. Whereas one would have expected to look, there are some things you would have seen in the opposition that would actually help your government to succeed. And there's nothing wrong. You say, look, opposition, come in. Let's work together in order to move the country forward. So I have been expecting that from our politicians, but most times it ends up in extending that hands of fellowship, but nothing happens in terms of concrete appointment in order to help the country to move forward. Then the issue of the leaders, when they come in, they don't want others to come here. And there is so much access to treasury. They have access to treasury and they get so much in the system, so they don't want others to come in. It helps also to make sure that there is so much tension in the system. I want a situation where somebody comes into political office, you want others also to come in. That has always been the problem.
Can legislation play a role in solving this problem?
Yeah, legislation, if the lawmakers come in and say, look, let's look at how these things are happening. Let's get the system working for the country. It will go a long way.
So in that, what would you expect, though? Because we're trying to look forward now and say, if the Ninth Assembly now, because we have a Ninth Assembly, they will come in place.
Yes.
If the Ninth Assembly, for instance, say, we will legislate over this and we will pass a bill on it, how do you expect it to work, the bill having been passed? How will it work structurally?
To allow political opponents to come and work with the person who has won. Yeah, it's for actually the lawmakers, to sit down and look at the system itself. and whether we can allow people to come in, that will go a long way.
Will it percolate to the state government at all levels?
Yeah.
Or should it just be for the presidential election?
Not for the presidential alone. If, Buhari has won this election now, and he wants others to join him to succeed.
If I look at what he says, we will strive to strengthen our unity and inclusiveness so that no section or group will feel left behind or left out.
That's the president says.
This is the president saying that.
So I totally agree with him. Like, as Atiku, lost that election, one would expect a president to ensure that Atiku comes along in terms of helping him to succeed.
What kind of association do you expect or hope for from the political class, or among or within the political class, in taking Nigeria forward? Because there is a need to prioritize the Nigerian above politics.
Say it again.
What kind of association, what kind of partnership, what kind of coming together do you expect from the political class, irrespective of their political divides?
Yeah, as I said earlier, as the president has won now, I expect the political class, the opposition, to come, look, president, you have won this election, but can we move this country forward?
Do you see that happening?
Yeah, well, if the president himself is willing to accept the position to work with him, okay, that again is very critical. Having won this particular election, there are so many issues that are standing that the president himself needs to solve. The issue of economy has to be taken care of. The issue of corruption, which the president has made, his selling point, has to be taken care of. The issue of foreign direct investment has to be taken care of. The issue of agriculture, diversification of the economy, has to be taken care of. So if the opposition comes in and says, Mr. President, you alone cannot do it, can we, come in and help, in this particular regard? And the president himself is willing. I see a country that is working.
How do you see that playing out when there is this anti-corruption fight also still very, very very destructive in this?
The president has made it especially clear that he wants to fight corruption, and that is very critical. But what we want is a structure to be put in place to ensure that even if the president leaves, that particular fight will continue. That is very critical. Getting a structure in place is what matters to some of us in this fight against corruption. The president has arrested some persons who are alleged to have committed corruption. I agree, but structure is key. So I think that the president now should be interested in leaving a legacy.
What do we do to put that structure in place so that whoever comes in, no matter what happens, anybody knows that, look, if you do this, this is what you get?
Yeah, I think that the issue of corruption must be tackled holistically. If somebody steals and you know why he steals and the processes of stealing, then you nip it in the bud. The governors most time have this unhindered access through issue of what do you call it now? This security vote. Issue of award of contract. There are no structures in place. So since we know how they steal, we must nip it in the bud. We must not allow this issue of a governor coming in and say, look, I'm entitled to 1 billion naira as security vote.
Because if the state houses of assembly, if they're not up and doing, the governor can get away with anything. Yeah,
issue of having institutions that are very strong to checkmate them is very important. Let me tell you what happened with this issue. You asked question about why there is so much crisis, in the electoral process. It's because, one, if any public officer comes in, he has what you call unhindered access to the treasury. The institutions that are supposed to checkmate them are not there. The State House of Assembly do not perform their duty. The governor is interested in getting the speaker to be on the side. And at the end of the day, they give him so much money, and give members of the House so much money that they don't perform their basic responsibility of ensuring that they checkmate a governor that is in place. So because of that unhindered access, because of having so much access to treasury, every of these politicians want to do all manner of things in order to be in power. And that is what goes on everywhere. There is so much aggression. Yes, there is so much agitation to be in power. And when they come in, it's not as if they're coming for performance. They're coming in order to become a multi-billionaire at the end of the day. And so the issue of public service is not there. But you see how the Europeans go to vote. There is no killing. Look at the number of days we have recorded. There is nothing happening, no crisis, no issue of ballot snatching, because they know the responsibility that is upon them when they are coming in. So there is no issue of struggling in order to be in power. But here we struggle, because the moment you come in, you are already a multi-billionaire. So we must try as much as possible to reduce the issue of pacts of office, what people gain when they come in. And the institutions must be very strong to checkmate them. And when they are being checkmated, I tell you that in no distant time, we will begin to have an electoral process where people will just walk in and cast their vote without any ballot snatching, without any intimidation, without any thumb printing, knowing fully well that the responsibility that is coming upon you when you win is very enormous. So you either go there to succeed or your name will be ruined for life. So I think the issue of definition of public office is very important. We have not been able to define it. Whoever comes in, like all the governors that have retired, they are all multi-billionaires. Why? Because they have been able to be in power and have easy access to treasury. So we must try as much as possible to set a standard in terms of governance, what we are entitled to. Our institutions must be strengthened in order not to allow public officers easy access to.
How will that happen when the people in power are the ones who are supposed to champion the strengthening of the institutions?
Yes.
How is that going to happen?
No, where we must make sure that our institutions are very strong, like the National Assembly or the State House of Assembly. Those who are going there in order to ensure that they checkmate the executive. Are you following me? Now we must begin to strengthen them and allow non-interference by the executive over the legislative assembly. Now, those who are going there must be people who have succeeded in their private enterprise, and they know the onerous responsibility imposed upon them by the Constitution in being elected into this legislative assembly, that they are there in order to checkmate the executive. Are you following me? If they understand it clearly and getting the right set of people to be in the legislative assembly, they will checkmate the executive and make sure that these people do not have what they call unhindered access. But that unhindered access is what is critical.
Here's a challenge that may come in at that point, because number one, before you vie for any office, no matter how big or small, when you go to the people for campaigning, it costs money. So when politicians spend that amount of money on the people and they get in there, they will say, we'll have to recoup our money.
A lot of orientation has to be done with the people also, because I am a witness. I was in the village when this election took place. I saw that some people